Hello, everyone. Welcome to AFM Podcast, episode 8. Today we have our special guest, Harold, aka Figuremaniashow, one of the best Titanverse photographer in the world. And I'm also here with Johnny Phouminh, Naveed Rahman, and Instafigurine admins of AFM. First of all, I would like to say thank you, Harold, for taking the time to doing a podcast with us. How are we doing today?
Oh, first of all, thank you very much for the invite. I mean, it's been a while since I got an invite like this.
Yeah.
I've been, in this community, a long while now, comparatively, and at first, like when you start getting, I guess people start noticing you as like a big thing. Oh, kaiju and stuff like that. But then after like people kind of like, I feel like they get bored of you. Oh yeah, sure, of course, yeah, that's Harold for sure. Oh yeah, of course, you know what I mean. So it's kind of it's kind of had that effect, you know what I mean. But it's all good, you know what I mean. So like I've enjoyed my time in the toy photography community for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. Without any further ado, we'll get started. So I'll do the first question, Harold. So
Sure.
can you tell us a bit about when you started collecting and like what sparked your interest in collecting, and was it like a childhood hobby that carried into your adulthood? Like if you wanna tell us like.
Sure. I mean, because for those of you that may not know, I'm Canadian. I was born in Toronto, Canada, and I grew up. I'm the only child. I grew up in a low income household, and parents divorced when I was 7 years old and things. But like my grandmother, she loved me to death. I was like her favorite grandkid out of all the grandkids in the family.
Nice.
I got a huge ass family, in Colombia. I have like over 100 cousins, like, first cousins, second cousins, and third cousins. And I don't even know them all,
Yeah. Extended family.
Yeah. But you know what, like, like my parents did the best they could to try and keep me happy. You know what I mean? Like, I did have like ever since, because I was the only kid, like I would watch cartoons and stuff like that, or watch, Transformers, Thundercats, Godzilla, the Godzilla cartoon and stuff. And like, I would get toys like whenever, my parents could afford to like dish out some cash and stuff like that. I would get those figures and things, you know what I mean? So like, it's always kind of been there in my life. You know what I mean? Like in the beginning, I had Transformers. I had lots of GI Joes, and DC, Marvel. You know what I mean? Because like in Toronto, that's what's accessible. You know what I mean? Like there was like, in terms of Godzilla, there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. Like I grew up around nobody being a Godzilla fan. I thought I was the only one in the world. You know what I mean? Like in school, I got ridiculed for being a Godzilla fan by friends and teachers. You know what I mean? I got ridiculed by being a wrestling fan too, because like I grew up on watching wrestling and things, and like it was my favorite pastime between me and my dad, watching Hulk Hogan and stuff. And like,
good days, golden days of wrestling.
Those were the days, and so it's always been present in my life, but when came in 2008, when I decided to just start my life over and things, I had a huge collection of stuff. I had Marvel's figures, DC figures, Transformers and stuff like that, and I had a huge comic book collection. Let it all go. I let it all go, and I came over here to start over. Yeah. And then nice. Like this collection that you see behind me is basically like 16 years in the making. You know what I mean? So like I started from scratch, so yeah. So there's giant Godzillas up there and things like. So like this is like it's still a rarity for me because I grew up in an era where like there was just no Godzilla stuff, and now it's like so accessible. And like I'm an adult that has, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business. I make my own money and stuff like that. I'm gonna take full advantage of that. You know what I mean? So like I'm just gonna go crazy.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now that's very good to know, Harold, that you've had to start over from scratch. I'm sure, like all of us collectors, at some stage in their life, we have to start over to settle ourselves in a different country or like a different environment. Like definitely a very positive thing for you, like to keep collecting in Taiwan as well.
Yeah, like it didn't like my collection didn't really start until I met my wife. You know what I mean? Yeah, because like for those first 3 years, you know what I mean? Like I was struggling, man. I was struggling. I was just chasing girls and stuff like that at the bars and stuff and things. You know what I mean? I was in that phase. But until when I met my wife and I knew she was the one, you know, and she is the one that started my Godzilla collection. Okay, because when
she's the keeper, man. She's the keeper.
You because like when the very first SH Monster Arts released, I was like, oh my god, look at that Godzilla. It looks like it came out of the movie. You know what I mean? Like at the time, you know what I mean? Like it's incredible. I still have that SH Monster Arts to this day. You know what she did? She got that for me for Christmas, and that was the very first thing. You know what I mean? And it's never stopped since. You know what I mean? So like, okay, I'm marrying her.
Awesome decision.
Good choice.
Yes, sir.
So Harold, my question was like, why Monsterverse? So now we know it's your wife who motivates you for going into Monsterverse, right?
Okay, I think your question was like, why the Monsterverse?
Yes, but I think we already got the answer. Like you already told us, your wife motivates you to collect more Monsterverse figurines and everything, right?
Well, no, it's not so much the Monsterverse. I mean, the the whole Godzilla craze really kicked off when the moment the very first teaser of Godzilla 2014 was released. When that happened, all of a sudden there was like a resurgence for Godzilla in the entire world because, like, prior to 2014, the last Godzilla movie was 2004. Godzilla Final Wars, and then the Toho decided to shelve Godzilla for 10 years, and then and then Godzilla was brought back through the Monsterverse, and then it was a big deal, you know what I mean? And then that's what and that's what kind of like started reigniting my passion for Godzilla all over again. And then like when I discovered here, being in Taiwan, there's a whole bunch of Godzilla fans. There's like a whole bunch of toy stores and stuff like that have like all kinds of collectibles that I've never seen, like I never saw in Canada, you know what I mean? And they're here and they're right at my fingertips. I was like, oh my god, like where did I'm so lucky. So but I mean I have a special affinity for the Monsterverse because it reinvigorated the whole love for Godzilla. But what I really liked about the Monsterverse in the beginning is that it took the idea of Godzilla as like, what if Godzilla was a real creature in our world today, So that was originally that was the premise, you know what I mean? And like that's why I love that Godzilla so much, like my favorite iteration of the legendary Godzilla. I mean, I still love 2014, but then when King of the Monsters came around and they changed his spines, they made him bigger, they made him look more Toho-esque and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that's the Godzilla, that's my Godzilla right there, and like and then when Godzilla X versus Kong came around, that was like, that's huge. That's like ingrained in my very core. You know what I mean? Like King Kong and Godzilla, I've always loved those two monsters. They've always been my two favorite monsters and stuff. And then just to get that movie and then to see them go at it and things, it was just like, it's still probably my favorite of the Monsterverse to this day. I mean, I like all of them. You know what I mean? But Godzilla versus Kong is special for me. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, exactly. I loved the iteration of Ghidorah. Never thought we'd be able to see the three-headed beast on screen and done so perfectly. I wish they would have kept some aspect of him alive, but I guess when the severed head was found, I guess they're going for Mecha Ghidorah or something. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the thing though is like, I guess like for a franchise like Godzilla, like it's destined. It inevitably it's going to go silly, because that's what exactly the original Toho happened. You know what I mean? Like Godzilla 1954, the very first Godzilla movie, it was dark as hell, and it was very serious and things. You know what I mean? It was trying to deliver a very serious message about, nuclear power and things, but then as the series has gone on, they've made it more kid friendly. They want, and it's a necessary move for the franchise to continue. You know what I mean? Like you need to create new fans. Like any franchise needs to be able to create new fans. And how do you do that? Through kids, and that's like, I saw that coming. I knew eventually that was going to be the case, especially with, King of the Monsters and stuff like that. And like when you started getting like the toys and things like that, you know what I mean? And like they made it very sci-fi-ish, you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, of course. I mean, of course that's going to happen. Like I wish it would have stayed in that grounded universe, but like, you know what I mean? Like if they want to include Mecha Godzilla, if they want to include aliens and stuff like that, if they want to include everything that you see now in like Godzilla X Kong, how do you treat that seriously? You just don't, you know what I mean? You just embrace the silliness. And like I actually like that it's like a modern day Showa, you know what I mean? Because I grew up on the Showa, and my very first movie actually was King Kong versus Godzilla. That's when I discovered the live action Godzilla. My very first Godzilla was the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, the cartoon. And then after that, my second movie was Godzilla versus Megalon, and I loved that movie for a very long time. And because Godzilla's a good guy and things, and then the next movie that I saw was Godzilla 19. In Canada, it was called 1985. But like I didn't find out later until like, oh, it's actually 1984. In Japan it was released in 1984 and stuff like that. And then and when I saw that movie, I was like, that's when I discovered, oh, there's a black and white Godzilla. You know what I mean? There's just so much that I didn't know. You know what I mean? I was just kept in the dark because like I didn't grow up around any other kaiju fans or anything, and I had nobody to bounce off of and like, oh yeah, no, this and that and stuff like that. So like when I came to Taiwan and I started collecting, I started discovering Godzilla groups. That's when I really started to learn more about the history and things. And I was like, oh, okay, and things like. To this day, I mean, I don't know it. I'll be honest. I love Godzilla very much, but I don't know everything. I mean, it's crazy. The amount of people out there that know so much about this franchise is amazing. Even kids younger than me. You know what I mean? But like, like they have the internet. I mean, me growing up as a kid, there was no internet. You know
there was no
internet. Yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah.
So Harold, are you able to show us a collection or you set up a tour, please?
Sure. Let me just unplug my power here because my computer can do it, and I'll just show you. Can you zoom in just on my?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let me walk you through here. Okay. So this guy up here, a gem, one of my prize collections here. This is the Omega Beast Furious Blue Godzilla. I love this guy to death. Like this is like my favorite all-time Godzilla, and I have him.
Is that a statue or an action figure? Like,
oh, I wish it was an action figure. No, it's a statue. But like the thing with Omega Beast products is that, especially with this guy, the arms are interchangeable. So like I can take the arms off, and there's other pieces and stuff.
Are those magnetic?
Yes, they're magnets. They're magnets. Yeah. And
Nice.
stuff. And like here, I have like Godzilla posters and stuff like that. When I went to Japan the first time, I picked up this and things. So like this is here. This is where the magic happens. Like in this room right here. So here's my TV, right? And this is the TV that I use for my backgrounds. I'm actually using my PlayStation 4 with a USB, and that's where I have like all the files for like my backgrounds and stuff like that. And then here I have 3 IKEA tables. Okay, so I like each time I move to a new house, I make sure that I have like more depth, because what I love about doing kaiju photography is to create that depth in the photos, and just I feel like that's like one of the key ingredients, like in Godzilla, like especially classic Godzilla movies, like they have like they're made in big studios and stuff like that. Like you can see, it's kind of like you see for miles and stuff, right? So that's the thing that I try to recreate in my photos.
Nice.
And then over here I have also Omega Beast Shin Godzilla. That's a beautiful piece right there.
Oh, nice.
That is an awesome piece. Yeah.
Work of art.
Look at the tail span. The tail span is huge.
Oh my God, these guys take up a lot of real estate. I have to admit, and I'm getting more. You know what I mean? So like I don't know what I'm gonna do. Okay?
Because you can have enough,
This guy right here, that guy is my very first gigantic series X Plus Godzilla of the Toho line, of the Toho Godzillas. That one is my all-time favorite Godzilla. Godzilla 89. I will not part with him at all.
Oh yeah, of course.
Then,
very accurate as well.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, like X Plus, like X Plus is X Plus. You know what I mean? They don't go wrong.
Yeah.
And then here is Omega Beast Godzilla 54, beautiful piece too by Keion Lin. And this this is probably like the biggest guy. This is a Godzilla Ultima. He's fantastic. I love that one. Like you can change his head. You can change his head. Yeah, and like Jesus, like if you ever seen my review for that guy, oh my God. And then over here I have these are actually NECA figures customed into Godzilla 2019. I got to get this guy, his head fell off, so I got to get it fixed by my buddy and things. So like I got so this is X Plus right here. This is another X Plus. This is Omega Beast, and these are Ichi Banchos. And then over here I have like all my props for my toy photography and things.
Awesome.
Yeah. So and then I got more here. I got like my bases, buildings, building ships, buildings. I got styrofoam supports. I got more buildings here. I got effects here. And then over here is where I keep my camera, I keep my Ulanzi lights and stuff like that, a whole bunch of stuff. And then here in this part, here's my I'm a big DC guy, you know what I mean? So like I love Marvel too, but I'm a DC guy more than a Marvel. And I got like my figures here. And I got these guys here. I love these guys. The MDLX Transformers. Oh man, fantastic figures. And that Hulk back there, that's a custom. It's actually Mr. Hyde, the Monster Hyde, and I custom into a Hulk. I love that one.
Yes.
And then I got more stuff back here. So these are the Joy Toy Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. Hayato, Star Trek, G.I. Joes, RoboCop. I'm a big RoboCop guy. Like it's my favorite movie of all time.
We haven't seen any RoboCop shots yet in the group.
I haven't gotten around to it. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty slow at you know what I mean? Like I'm just a busy guy. You know what I mean? And like
of course.
So then here we have here are my Super 7 Godzillas over here and my Super 7 figures, and you can see like they tower over the SH Monster Arts. These are SH Monster Arts. Godzillas, NECAs, and then
very articulated as well.
These guys are all SH Monster Arts.
By the way, my favorite, I don't know about this, but my favorite one is Godzilla 1998. Do you have anything from
1998?
and then So then here are my Transformers. There's a Metroplex. Yeah. And these are the 3 Zeros, Optimus, and this is the Rise of the Beast, Bumblebee movie and things. And like, yeah, I got a few, some stuff here. And then moving back up here, here's some more SH Monster Arts and things. So, like, I'm running out of space. Like, I have to reorganize my collection.
Oh, those Ghidorahs look awesome.
Oh my god! And there's another one coming. There's another Ghidorah 2019 coming, an updated version. And also the Godzilla, Ghidorah 91 is coming too, and that's going to be a beast of a figure. So I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do?
I'm a huge Ghidorah fan. Like,
Ghidorah is beautiful. Like, like Ghidorah is like probably my favorite Godzilla adversary, and right after Godzilla, and like he's just beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, there's Destroyer as well, but I like.
Oh man, like that. Speaking of Destroyer, did you see like this friggin' Super 7 figure? Incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I just recently picked up Space Godzilla. Like I love these Super 7 figures. Like people crap on these Super 7 figures for being you know what I mean? They're calling it, Happy Meal toys or whatever. You know what? If people that say that, they just have no joy in their life, man. Honestly. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like look at man, just to have this on the shelf. Look at that. Just looks beautiful. You know what I mean? Man, fantastic. It's incredible. Like I wake up every day, I walk through my door and I look at these guys, and I'm like, oh man, like I'm happy every single time. You know what I mean? So like, yeah. So people that just like are hating on figures, that I think to me, they just wish they had those figures, and like with their anxiety is like, oh yeah, that shit is gonna deep down they wish they had that.
They wish they had it.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
Oh yeah, that's really awesome, Harold. Thank you for showing us your
Thanks
collection.
for showing.
Thank you.
I guess it's 16 years of collection. Looks very awesome. And I guess what you said about the Super 7, when they see your photography and few others, they will know that this figure can be used for ACBA purposes, and it should be
here's my belief about that, and people have said, publicly, oh, Harold can make even the shittiest figure look good. They say that's a huge compliment to me, actually.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because like you are only limited by your own imagination in toy photography. And this is my belief, you know what I mean? Like if you want to use, you just have to figure out a way. I mean, not every figure is, some are more usable than others. Some are more, are more cumbersome than others and stuff like that. But if you really want to make that figure look good, you'll figure out ways on how to do that. You know what I mean? So like, even I've shot even like with the little Jack's Pacific ones. You know what I mean? I made them look. You know what I mean? Like I made them look big and things. You know what I mean? So like it's, to me, I find it's a challenge. To me, it's a challenge just to try and make that figure look better, because like the whole point of toy photography is to trick the eye. And like and that the best artists know how to do that. So
of course. So Harold, now that we've seen your humongous collection, I'm gonna ask you a very tricky question now. So like earthquakes and natural disasters are an everyday part of our life. So let's say there was an earthquake or like something natural disaster happening, like what are the 3 figures you're gonna take and run? Like,
fucking hell. Okay, well, first, I would make sure that my dogs are okay. I cannot live without my dogs. You know what I mean?
You're a dog person.
I'm a dog person, yes. And my dogs come first. Before any.
What kind of breeds do you have, if I may?
They're Taiwanese half-breed dogs, you know what I mean? Like they're mountain dogs and stuff. So yeah, like they're rescue dogs. I rescued them off the street and things, you know. Yeah. Thank you. So I mean, because I have my dogs, you know what I mean? They take precedence over any of this stuff over here, you know what I mean? But if I had the time to save any of these, you know what I mean? I'd probably save that Omega Beast Godzilla, that big blue one there, the big, and I would say this guy here. He's like my favorite SH Monster Arts. This is Godzilla 89. This is like the king of the SH Monster Arts. I would definitely save this one.
And one more.
One more. I would probably. I would probably save my Optimus Prime, my big one down here.
Oh yeah, Optimus Prime.
Yeah, this one down here. You see it? This one right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
That one. Yeah.
Is that a 3-0 or 3-0 Optimus?
This is it was made by. God, I forgot the name. It Mega Action.
Yep.
It was made by, I don't know. They also made a Megatron, which I never managed to get my hands on, and I kicked myself in the ass for that. You know what I mean? Because that Megatron was awesome too. But like that company is still around, but they don't do these guys anymore. You know, and and just to get that Megatron, like it'd be costing an arm and a leg for that. You know, so yeah. But like recently, like there was a third-party company that made like a 4-foot tall Metroplex. Did you see that one? I went to my there's a freaking 4-foot tall Metroplex. It's huge. Like
I think so.
This thing's bigger than my wife, basically. You know what I mean? And I told my wife, I go, hey, you said that I could, you know, as long as I pay for it and I save up for it, I can have any figure I want, right? Which isn't bad. So then I showed her pictures of that Metroplex. She's like, fucking no. She goes, where are you going to put that thing? I go, you're not putting it at the school. I go, why not? The kids would love it. No, I don't want that thing in their school. I was like, and then like, it's literally another human-sized thing. You know what I mean? So like, and she is right. Like, where am I going to put this guy? You know what I mean? Maybe I'll just have him sit in my seat every night. You know what I mean? And I come, when I come out, I was like, hey, hey, Metroplex. You know what I mean? Go get me coffee. You know? But you know, the silver lining to that story is that she told me, like, first of all, she said it was ugly. She was like, I'm not letting. It's like $1,500.
Pretty expensive.
You know what I mean? And like if you watch the reviews online to that thing, like the guy is like, like he's getting a workout just trying to move the arm, just trying to get it into place and stuff like that. It's incredible, you know. But the silver lining to that story is she says if it was a Godzilla, I would let you get it. I was like, right.
Let's hope for a Godzilla to come out.
That's nice. Well, there is a human-sized Godzilla statue, you know what I mean, that Yuji Sakai made under, I think that just got released this year, but that's $48,000. That's like buying a car, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, that's for people that have ridiculous money to spend, you know what I mean? And like, for me I'm not willing to spend that money because that would hurt my life. That would hurt my my lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like everything that I have here, it's with money that won't hurt my lifestyle at all. You know what I mean? It's money that I save up in things. You know what I mean? Even like the big ones and stuff. You know what I mean? So like, thankfully for me, you know, because it's easier for us adults than like kids, you know what I mean? Like they have to ask their moms and their mom and dads all the time and stuff like that. We don't, you know what I mean? But like,
true.
You know what I mean? So like, as long as the hobby doesn't interfere with our lifestyle, my wife is good with all this.
That's pretty good to know.
So Harold, we just want to know, how did you get on YouTube? what motivates you to join YouTube?
It was around the same time when I discovered the whole Godzilla community on online and things, and like I saw what got me into toy photography was a gentleman by the name of John Ruffin. I saw his better. He's also known as My Kaiju. Okay,
My
if you look
Kaiju.
on My Kaiju, and I was absolutely blown away with his stuff. You know, what I mean? I was like, oh my god, you could do that with Godzilla figures? That's incredible. And he was the person that inspired me to start my own toy photography. You know, and we are friends to this day. We actually got to meet finally for the first time last year in Japan for Godzilla Day. It was incredible, but like it was so short, you know what I mean? Like I wish I could have spent like an entire day with him, or like an entire weekend with that guy, you know, because that guy's my hero, you know.
Yeah,
and like we're friends, and we keep in touch every now and then and things, you know. So he was my inspiration for starting my own toy photography. But like when he does X Plus, you know what I mean? At the time when I saw that, like I just couldn't afford X Plus, you know. Those X Pluses are like $300-$400 figures, you know what I mean? I was like, oh my god, you know what I mean? But now I built myself up to where, like, yeah, X Plus, sure, no problem. Yeah, you know. But then when it came to the YouTube, it was like around the same time I was, you know, I wanted to research, like, you know, the figures that John Ruffin was using for his toy photography, and then I came across Rich Iso, Mr. Fresh Vinyl, you know, and at that point he's been on YouTube for a while, and like he was my inspiration for starting YouTube. Rich Iso, Mr. Fresh Vinyl, and I got to meet him too at Godzilla Fest last year too, and like I told him, hey man, you were my inspiration for starting YouTube and things, and he's a pretty cool guy. He's really great and things. So that's how that happened, you know. And then you know, and then everything else, like I just started, you know, just work my way, just keep at it and be consistent in things, you know, and just have fun with it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Maybe someday we will have both of you in our podcast. Maybe someday.
So I couldn't hear you. Say that again.
Maybe someday we will have both of you in our podcast.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. John is a very gracious person. You know, he's a very gracious person. I mean, he does do freelance work sometimes for X Plus. Like sometimes X Plus they re-release model kits of like previously made figures. So they get him, they contract him to do the box art for it. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, he's the Babe Ruth. Like if you think that I'm like one of the greatest in Godzilla toy photography, John Ruffin is the Babe Ruth. Yeah.
No, so, okay. We look him up.
Sure. Yeah.
So I have a question for you. My first question.
Sure.
So you have figurines from Hia Toys, right? I mean,
Hia Toys. Yes, that's right. I do. Yes.
Hia Toys, right? My bad. So do you have collaboration with them? Do they send you PR for reviews and stuffs?
For Hia Toys, how that happened, it happened around the time when Hia solicited that they were doing MonsterVerse figures, right? But prior to that, no one knew about Hia Toys, I did because I've had a few of their figures, but that's not monster related though. Like they were used to doing. To this day now they do 3/4 inch figures, and the GI Joes and those ones, the Star Treks, right? And so I contacted them and I was like, hey, I'm a reviewer, I do toy photography. I showed them my Instagram, This is I have a body of work of Godzilla. If you're looking, if you have a reviewer program and stuff like that, and I live in Taiwan, and I know you guys are in China and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I hope that you can consider me for, a collaboration, right? And right away they contacted me. Oh yeah, sure, and things. You know what I mean? And that's how it happened. And that's how that happened. But ever since then, I mean, I've had a healthy relationship with them. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean,
what's
I
your plan
also
for the future? Do you want to continue the collaboration and everything?
I'm sorry, say again?
And what's your plan for the future with the collaboration? If the relationship remains healthy, are you looking forward to a long run?
I'm looking forward to a long run with them as long as I can with them. I mean, now they got the Monster Hunter license, you know what I mean? Which is exciting.
Nice.
And like, I've never, like I've always known about Monster Hunter, but like I've never been in that world. And I know eventually they're going to contact me. Hey, do you want to do Monster Hunter? So like, I'm starting to study up on Monster Hunter right now. You know what I mean? And
I play a couple of video games.
Yes, video games, but it gives me a chance to take my toy photography in a different way. You know what I mean? Because like, even though they're monsters, they're not kaiju. They're like more down to earth. They're more in your face. You know what I mean? And like,
some of them are actually nice. They're very joyful and everything.
Yeah. So like, it's like a fantasy and things like that. You know what I mean? So like, it's an interesting world, but like, I never got into the
very
games,
colorful, unique, and everything.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I used to be into, like, before my wife, like I used to be heavy into games, but then my wife was like, you know what? I don't like I live in a culture where like that's really not looked upon quite fondly, you know what I mean? Being a gamer and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Especially for my wife and her family, right? So then she's like, I would rather that you do something else. And then like when I started doing toy photography, she's like, yeah, I'd rather you do that because you're using your mind to create something as opposed to sitting in front of the TV, just being a zombie doing this and stuff like that. You're not really doing anything for yourself in my wife's perspective. You know what I mean? I was like, fine, So getting back to that, I mean, I do hope, as long as I'm alive and I'm in perfect health, I do hope to continue that. You know what I mean? I mean, I will tell you guys, I mean, I did during COVID-19, when that all happened, like I experienced my first heart attack, and I've survived 2 heart attacks, and
sorry to hear that.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine, you know what I mean? But like it was a big wake up call for me, you know what I mean? And so like so now I have I kind of changed my perspective a little bit on things, you know what I mean? Ever since that happened and things, and like I still enjoy what I eat and stuff like that, but like I'm a little bit more cautious, and like my wife says, stop eating that and stuff, you know what I mean? But like I'm not a big guy. You know what I mean? Like I go to the gym and stuff like that, and there's people in my life that are way bigger than me, and they've never had heart attacks, and it happened to me. You know what I mean? So like that whole myth about if you overindulge and if you smoke and if you do drugs, you'll get heart attacks. I am none of those things, and it happened to me. You know what I mean? So like, go figure. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Life's unpredictable. Very unpredictable.
Life is unpredictable. That's right. Yeah. But like getting back to your question, like what do I see? I just want to enjoy the ride. You know what I mean? Like I'm not looking to try and be a big superstar or anything like that. Like it's never been my intention. You know what I mean? Like I'm 48 years old. You know what I mean? I like where I am right now, and I like my peace and quiet. I like my tranquility and things like that. Like, younger kids today being on Instagram and stuff like that, it's all about trying to get clicks. It's, trying to build popularity and stuff like that. Me, I don't care. I just want to create art. That's all. Yeah. And I want to enjoy my figures, and I want to enjoy with other collectors, and that's it. You know what I mean? Just keep it simple. I just want to keep it simple. Like I don't need like all the extra clutter and stuff like that. I just can't do it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, Harold. We already get to know about your most favorite preference, but now we want to know what figures do you like from the GI Joe line, the Hasbro GI Joe line,
What figures do I like from?
the GI Joe line.
Oh,
GI Joe?
yeah. Like, you know, when I was a kid, I had a ton of GI Joes. You know, like but I never had Cobra Commander. I never had Snake Eyes and things. You know what I mean? I never had those key characters in GI Joe. Now I finally have Cobra Commander, Destro, and things. I finally have a Flint and things. You know what I mean? But like, I missed out for some reason on Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, because they're like my two favorite. Like I love ninjas. You know what I mean? And like Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, they're the two most badass guys, you know what I mean, in all of GI Joe. Like when I think of GI Joe, I think of Snake Eyes, you know. And I do have the 6-inch Snake Eyes. Like when Hasbro released their very first Snake Eyes, you know, and it came out like with that big black box and stuff like that. It was like the classified. I got that one. I was like, I gotta get that one, and I have that one in my collection. You know what I mean? But like, I just. There's too many. There's too many GI Joes at this point and things. You know what I mean? And I can, you know what I mean? Like I can only keep up with so much. You know what I mean? So like, thankfully, like high end, like they say, hey, do you want to do this? I say, yeah, sure, give it to me. I'll do it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, but it's.
So which one are your most favorite?
Say again?
Yeah, which one are your most favorite?
My most favorite for GI Joe?
Yeah,
Most favorite from
I think it's Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes. Or
Snake Eyes.
Isn't it?
He's my favorite all-time GI Joe. Yeah.
Nice.
And I have like of the 6-inch GI Joes, he's the only one I have. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He's the only one I have.
Nice.
For the 3/4 inch, I have like let me show you guys. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Yeah, please.
Sure.
You know, I started my collection with GI Joe as well long back. Then I had to let them go, and then started with the 6-7 inch scale figures later on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have Storm, Shadow, and Snake Eyes. The 6-inch.
Oh,
That's
nice.
the only two I have on GI Joe.
I haven't seen your photography on those. Would love to see them, John.
I own.
Yeah.
All right, so these are the guys that I have so far, and like these guys are badass. You know, like I never managed to get my hands on these guys right here: Cobra Commander, Destro, Major Blood, Baroness, and Firefly. I finally have them after so long. You know what I mean? I finally have those guys. You know, and then for GI Joe, I've got Gung Ho, Tiger Force Flint, Lady J, and Beachhead. I had Beachhead as a kid, but like this Beachhead is just so much cooler.
I always wanted a gun hole.
Oh, this gun ho's so cool. Yeah.
I know.
It's very cool.
I find him so cool, but I couldn't find any back then.
Yeah, they're tough to find at the time, you know, like because like, you know, as a kid, like you don't know anything about scalpers and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And that's what people were doing, you know what I mean? Like let's scalp these freaking toys and shit. You know? Like, what the
Scalpers.
hell? Yeah. Fuckers, man. Anyways, so that's what I have, you know. And like, but I'm gonna ask Haya Toys. Like,
Rahman and I are laughing hard about this, you know. We have our own history with the scalpers.
Yeah.
You know, we have our own history with the scalpers. That's why we are laughing so hard.
Oh, yeah.
Messy.
Yeah, man, they really ruined it. But you know what? Like I remember, like when Haya Toys released their first articulated Godzilla, and Haya sent me that. That was their first articulated figure, and that Godzilla, that figure got scalped so hard, so hard. And then, sure enough, a couple months later, Haya released Godzilla 2019 updated version. So I was like, screw you, motherfucker. Yeah, and now it's just more available now. Yeah, so
yeah, of course, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
So now that we are talking about GI Joes, let's talk about the live action movies. There are two, right? GI Joe, the first one, and the GI Joe Retaliation.
Yes.
Yeah. I like the first movie. I enjoyed the first movie, but I wanted to ask you about the second movie, GI Joe Retaliation. What's your thought on that?
They were trying to bet everything on The Rock, and that it proved that no, he it doesn't mean just because you throw The Rock in it, it doesn't mean it's gonna be good or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like something was missing about that, about that whole thing. You know what I mean? Like The Rock, like they killed off Channing Tatum like right at the beginning. He's supposed to be Duke.
Right at the beginning. I mean, so unfair. He had potential.
Yeah, like when that happened, I was like, what? They fucking killed Duke? Are you kidding me? You know what I mean? Just to bring in The Rock, and like I don't know. The Rock is a good actor and things, but like I don't know. It doesn't mean that he can necessarily carry any franchise. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, like he's like the highest paid actor in the world and things like that, but like I just don't see why. It's all about his whole mystique. You know what I mean? And like I don't know. My personal favorite Hollywood star is Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise is phenomenal. He's a friggin' legend. Like man, anything that Tom Cruise is in is just awesome. You know what I mean? Like I
think with when you see him,
if I didn't enjoy it that much.
Say again.
I love Tom Cruise, except for the Jack Reacher films. I love Tom, but he's not Jack Reacher. Yeah,
he's not Jack Reacher. No.
And also, let's not forget about The Mummy. They rebooted The Mummy. Come on, let's not forget about that.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know what they were trying to do, but it clearly didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, but when it comes to Mission Impossible, like nobody touches Tom Cruise there. You know what I mean? I mean, he's
I personally thought like Tom Cruise would be fit for GI Joe because of his performance from Top Gun Maverick. The way he portrays the whole,
even after this age.
Like it would. The thing though is like with even with like both GI Joe movies, they were really watered down. Like if they had been treated a little bit more serious, a little bit more grounded, like Cobra is a big threat. Like you see Cobra like killing people and things like that. You know what I mean? Like it could. You know what I mean? Like if they would have made it more, a little bit more grounded and things. I think it people would have treated it a little bit more treated it a little bit more serious, you know what I mean? But like right from the get-go, like with this, with the power suits and stuff like that, like, at that point when the first GI Joe came out, people were starting to like fatigue on Transformers, and it was, fuck, it's just Transformers again. They're fucking wearing a Transformers suit, and the guys like jumping and stuff like that, right? And like people were starting to wane on that, I remember, so like I don't know, man. Yeah, and even now, like they pulled the plug on Transformers GI Joe. Like I was watching it last night with my wife. Rise of the Beast.
About the movie influence on the toy line, about the GI Joes. When do you think the movie-based GI Joes are good enough? The movie versions of GI Joes, or the more OG designs of the GI Joes are better?
You know what? Like I like the OG designs of GI Joes, but it's just how they tell the story, like their narration and things is what matters. Like even with the last Transformers live action Rise of the Beast, Optimus Prime. You know, like they promised, they were promising like a more kinder Optimus Prime. No, he was a dick. Like right up until the very end, he's like, "Oh, he looks at the Optimus Prime. Oh, you allied with the humans and stuff like that." Like before that, he didn't care anything about humans. He thought humans were shit. You know what I mean? Then if you grow up on watching Transformers and Optimus Prime, that's not Optimus Prime. That's not his character. You know what I mean? So like. They just, I don't know. They just do things to try and I really don't know, but it didn't have the same heart. You know what I mean? And I think that's what lacks. Yeah. So that's the thing.
Yeah. So Harold, what's your favorite Godzilla movie, and what are your thoughts on the MonsterVerse films?
My favorite one so far out of all the ones that have been released is Godzilla X Kong versus Kong. Sorry, okay, that one.
Yeah,
you know,
course.
And it's gotten, you know, for a lot of people, like for the diehard Toho guys that only accept anything Toho, they don't accept anything else. They think that's garbage. Me, I don't care. I'll take it all. Like I anything. I love Godzilla. You know, even like that 98 movie. Like sure, as a Godzilla film, it's not a good Godzilla movie, but it is a good monster movie. You know what I mean? Like if you don't think of that monster as a Godzilla, it's actually an entertaining movie. You know what I mean? But only now. But again, like some people just can't wrap their minds about you know portraying that character in a different light. Like comic books do it all the time. There's always a new Superman, there's always a new Batman and things, you know what I mean? So like you know, these characters, Godzilla is very non-linear and he's very multi-dimensional and things, right? So like you know, and I'm glad that, you know, they're able to reinvent Godzilla all the time. You know what I mean? Because if they couldn't do that with the character, this franchise would have died out a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like that's the longevity of Godzilla. You know what I mean? Like it's you know, it's evolution and things. I mean, I do like how, like, I understand the trajectory for the MonsterVerse. You know what I mean? They want to get more butts in the movie theaters. They want to get families in there. Families, that's where it's at. You know what I mean? So that's why they're doing it. That's why you see like all these toy, you know, the Playmate toys and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's what they're pushing for. You know what I mean? And I totally understand that. You know, but for the serious Godzilla fans, like, you know, for the that don't want, you know, like the whole slapstickish type things. You know what I mean? We have Godzilla -1, and man,
that's my favorite.
They couldn't be more different from each other. You know what I mean? And like that movie, like if you ask me right now, like which Toho Godzilla movie is my favorite, it's got to be that one, Godzilla -1. That Godzilla movie was done so brilliantly. And it's just fantastic. It really was. You know what I mean? Like if you take Godzilla out of that movie, you have an entirely different movie, you know, that's still good on its own, you know, with the story and stuff, you know. So it was done very well, I think. So
I loved it.
Now, when you say about Godzilla versus Kong, I just loved how they portrayed Mechagodzilla, like with all the special effects and the way and the fight scene, you know, and getting Kong into there as well. It's like a different sort of vibe, you know. When you say about the Toho, like they always want like something like -1, it would become stale. Like fans would not engage anymore. Like if you put out like 3-4 the similar movies, Godzilla terrorizing the whole planet, it's not going to work. I think getting more similar kaijus in the mix as well, it sort of works and gives more entertainment to people. Like what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's got a, you know what I mean? Like the Godzilla franchise is at a point right now is like where you know, Godzilla can be anything. You know what I mean? And people finally understand that now. what I mean? So we have two different universes at Godzilla coexisting at the same time, and we also have, on Netflix too. Like you can find the Godzilla, animated cartoon. There's two of them. There's Planet of the Monsters, and then there's Singular Point and stuff. You know what I mean? The one thing about those one issue that I have with those is just that they overcomplicate the story far too much. If you're trying to get an audience, then you need to think about the limits of that audience too, because like I don't know if you've seen Gamma Rebirth. Did you see the Gamma Rebirth, the anime? Fantastic animation, Anyways, it's made by the same guy who made Godzilla Planet of the Monsters. Like he directed it, right? And like it is a totally different story, but it was very engaging in things, and it was very easy to follow the story. Okay.
Yeah.
If you try and follow the story to Godzilla Singular Point, like I'm a big Star Trek guy, and even for me, I was like, what are they talking about? Like I had to go back and like, check like what the hell are they talking about and things. Because it's just too, it's too scientific. You know what I mean? Like my kids in my school, like when that was coming out, I was like telling them, yeah, Godzilla minus a Singular Point, and I was showing them the trailers and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, Godzilla. And then they come back to me, oh, teacher, I don't understand anything. They're using an English that I don't understand. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's like you're just using like this scientific jargon that like nobody friggin' understand. Like no normal person would friggin' understand. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. Anyways, but I don't know. We're living in a good time with kaiju. Like we're living in that renaissance. You know what I mean? And like. Pacific Rim is another one of those franchise too. Is like, oh man, that first one was so good, but then they totally dropped the ball in the second one.
You totally messed up the second one.
Yeah, and then like the visuals of it, like the artistic angle of the Jaegers and everything was fantastic. That's not the problem with that movie. The problem with that movie is just that it didn't connect with the audience. You know what I mean? Like we had in the first, we had these soldiers that were piloting these robots and stuff like that. We're on the verge of extinction and stuff like that. And then we come back to the number two, and like we got these kid pilots and stuff like that, and they're acting like kids and stuff like that. I was like, like. Anyways,
I mean, I was hopeful that we'll see a crossover between Pacific Rim and the MonsterVerse Godzilla. It would be sick to see some of those things like fighting Godzilla.
Too expensive that they would never do it. Like I could see that happening in a comic for sure, okay, and in an animation. But like to do it live action, that's a very tall order. Yeah. So I mean. They could technically do it because like Legendary's got both of them, Pacific Rim and MonsterVerse.
Yeah, they own the both franchise.
Yeah, they own it. Yeah. So like I remember like when Dark Horse, do you know Dark Horse Comics? They had aliens, they had Predator, they had like Godzilla and all that stuff like that, and then they're like, let's just do it all, and then you see like these big crossovers, Alien versus Predator and stuff like that. That's where that came from. You know what I mean? It's from the comics and stuff, and then they made it into a movie. Yeah, so yeah, it's fun. All in all, like it's fun for me. Like people have their gripes with it and things like MonsterVerse and stuff like that. Me, like, it is what it is. I just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like if you just I just want to enjoy, turn off your brain, enjoy the visuals and stuff like that. That's what that's for. You know what I mean? Like video game stuff and stuff like that. Great. But then if you want something more somber, more serious and stuff like that, I mean, we have now, they're working on a new Godzilla film, a follow-up, same director, same team that created, -1 and things. So like, the good thing is that both audiences are getting their cake. You know what I mean? So which is good. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing.
And I wanted to ask you, like, there's a Grail Godzilla game inspired by the 2014 movie on PS4. Like, do you have that game?
No, I did. I never managed to get that game. Like, you know what? I was like, I like Godzilla games. Like the best Godzilla game that I played was Godzilla Monsters Melee on the original Nintendo GameCube. That was fantastic. And then they did a follow-up. It never released on the GameCube. It actually came out on the PlayStation 2. I have it actually. Godzilla Save the Earth. That one.
Yeah.
And then they did another one after that, which I missed out on for some reason. You know, but then when PlayStation 3 came about and they were showing this Godzilla game, and then I saw Angry Joe's review on this game, I was like, oh my god, they totally messed it up. Like it's when they marketed it as like a fighting game, like a monster fighting game. You know what I mean? But when you play it, it's so slow and stuff like that. And people are, oh, it's a simulator. It's a simulator. Nobody really wants a simulator. People, you know what I mean? Like, that's why Giga Bash is so good. Like, I have the Giga Bash and I have the DLC, the Godzilla DLCs and the Ultraman DLCs and stuff like that. Like, if I want a fun Godzilla game, I play that. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean? You grab buildings, you throw it, you smash it, you know what I mean? Godzilla works in that setting, you know what I mean? You can have fun with it there, but like if it's so slow and lumbering and things like that, and it's just so repetitive, Godzilla's getting the reactor, Godzilla's getting the actor. It's like, oh my god. No, so I totally skipped out on that game. Yeah. So just because of that, you know, even though it's a Godzilla thing, I was thinking of picking it up. Like if I do find it in the wild, I'll probably get it just for commodity's sake, you know what I mean? But like I'm not in a hurry to play it. I like you know, when Giga Bash came out, I was like, oh man, this looks and feels like just like that Godzilla Monsters Melee game, the Save the Earth game. And then all of a sudden when they announced that they were doing the DLC and it beat Godzilla, I picked up that game just for that. Yeah. So
nice.
Nice.
No, that's really good to know, Harold. So I'll ask the last question as we're nearing our end of the podcast.
Sure.
So Harold, you've been a part of AFM for a while now. Thanks for joining us. And like, what do you think of AFM as a rising action figure photography group? Like, and do you have any advice for anyone beginning to learn to do, MonsterVerse or Kaiju photography? Like, do you have any advice for the newcomers?
Well, first of all, I mean, for you guys as a group, I mean, I haven't seen this much positivity in a single group in a long while, which I do commend you guys for. I mean, you guys, you guys are very supportive and things. You guys are so nice, and you guys give very good feedback and stuff. For people wanting to get into toy photography, I mean, just have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, follow people that you think are good artists and stuff like that and learn from them. You know what I mean? And just don't take it too seriously. There's a lot of people that do take it too far, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And they just totally forget the aspect of it and stuff. So I don't know, just have fun with it. You know what I mean? And like, I don't, I put no expectations on like what I hope to get or anything like that. You know what I mean? So like whatever comes my way, I consider it as a blessing and stuff like that. But I'm not actively going out hoping that I become a famous toy photographer or whatever. You know what I mean? No, like that's not my focus. For me, my focus is to try and become a better artist all the time, and I think I've done that, you know, like
of course,
each year, like my style has evolved now. You know, if you've looked at my previous, like from my work from last year to this year, you notice, you know, a difference in it, because like I've learned how to color grade and stuff like that. I've learned new things and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And like and I've tried to do more 1/12 scale photography because I like it, and I'm getting more into 3/4 inch scale photography and things because I want to diversify myself a little bit more. I do enjoy, those that scale of figures and things like that. So like, but like, with that though, like, it helps if you have the right props, if you have the right things to help with your scene. I mean, for me, with Godzilla and Kaiju, I have, I don't know, over 10 years worth of stuff that I've collected and things like that. And you can see it all the time in my photos and stuff like that, right?
Definitely,
that I've accumulated. It's with the intention of just trying to, I've always been chasing that hyper realism in my photos, you know what I mean? And like now I'm trying to chase that hyper realism of, and also the cinematic type feel of it, which is why I've learned color grading and things like that. I want to stay true to the ACBA, but you know what, like I was in this mind frame before that. No, I have to do it only this way. You know what I mean?
Tangible
but
way.
I've kind of but I've let go of that way of thinking, because for me personally, I'm restricting myself. You know what I mean? And
true.
I don't want to restrict myself, creatively. You know what I mean? So like, if I can, have a bigger toolbox of things, a bigger, more skills and stuff like that. Like it's just a benefit for you, like having more skills, something more in your toolbox or in your arsenal to make your art. I mean, I think it's more beneficial. So that's why I started, applying like a little bit more, FX and stuff like that, but still staying true to the core ACBA type thing, because that's what I like. You know what I mean? But like, there's nothing wrong with adding effects here and there and stuff like that, color grading and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like, it's just have fun with it. Be true to yourself. That's it.
Now, definitely, I agree that not everything can be done tangibly. We have to adapt to the modern times as well, and improve our craft as we grow along. Yeah, definitely. So Harold, thank you for your time in this podcast, and like definitely we hope to have you as our guest again, because we have more segments planned for this sort of talks.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about the movies, and we're gonna talk about like pop culture in general. So we'd obviously love to have you as a guest again, because I definitely enjoyed.
I'd be happy to do that. Thank you very much for having me, guys.
Thank you, Harold, and for our viewers, like, share, and subscribe, and we hope to see you in the next podcast. Peace out.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, take care, Harold.
Thank you.